Okay, so let's go back, and you guys are all going to receive a template that looks identical to this. I'm trying to figure out the best way to share that with you. DWG files, also known as drawing files, if you see all these up here, they do not save or transfer very readily across Classroom. And the other thing is, the easiest way to do it is via email. So I might have to be doing that through your Home Access Center student email. But this is not something we'll have to do very often, just because I will, I'll only have to send you 3 or 4 new file types throughout the semester. You'll be on this one for a while. So you might be looking at this and say, well, why is this? Why did we go through all that trouble of setting everything up if you're sending me a file and this is what you're sending me and everything else? Well, the reason for that is there's a difference between operator settings and file settings. So yes, you would get the exact same things as you do, as I have on mine on yours. But if I shift right click, for instance, which is being very persnickety right now, if I clicked my object snap settings, had you not set yours up the same way, all of these would be different. You could still be on graph paper. You could still have a variety of different things happening for you. So we don't really want that to be the case. Okay. Anyhow, let's move on from there. I gave you all of these because these are sheets of graph paper, basically. Or I'm sorry, sheets of drawing paper, and like a piece of computer paper. And so I wanted you to see this. I dimensioned it, and so that's 8.5 by 11. The reason I do this is because what happens a lot of times in AutoCAD is that students will do what I just did. You may be able to see a speck on your screen right here. So a student will go ahead and they'll draw the first thing on their page, and they'll say, well, that's about, they're trying to draw, a car or whatever it is, or something, or a ski slope. And they draw that, and they can't find what was originally there. I look at this and it says, well, the length of this is 143,293 inches long. Well, no wonder we can't find what we drew originally. It's way over here, right? Even if I zoom, right, to the maximum size I can still barely see that. I almost think that that's a speck on my screen. So the hope here is that while you guys are learning, creating a bunch of sheets of paper for you to do your drawings in will work just great. Okay. So a couple of things that we started doing together. And again, you got a lot of information thrown at you. We broke down and we said, this is the ribbon up here. Okay. So I'm not doing any settings right now. Go back to the settings video if you need to see that. So this is the ribbon. In a lot of programs, you might go ahead and change ribbon settings or toolbar settings and moving stuff in certain places. I would really prefer it if you guys did not, because I don't know that I can sometimes even help you out when you hide stuff away or somehow remove it. It can be very hard to get back all the way to the point of having to restore your defaults. So, which that might mean getting technology involved. So, anyhow. You'll notice a couple other things. When we left instruction in class, you only had a yellow layer. You got a yellow layer and a 0 layer. Well, now you have a pink layer, okay? I created layers for you. Usually this is something we do together in class, but we have several layers right here. So let's say you had a very complex drawing and you don't care what the client, they don't care about what the angles and the dimensions are. They just want to see the drawing. So this, again, is the power of layers, right? I just clicked the light bulb for dimension. And the dimensions went away, okay? Anyhow, so that's that. These lines, you'll learn what they are as we go. But object lines, now this is what's misleading. They are also white. These have to be white. Like I said, the only 2 layer colors I care about are the yellow for construction and the white for object. And so because object are white, you do have to double check and make sure that you're not on 0, okay? The other ones, any layers that you make from this point forward, the only thing I always suggest is make them bright, okay? Dark colors are not good against a black screen. Okay. So again, two different things that we have happening with our tools. All right. We have draw tools, which are on the far left. We have modify tools, which are next to those. Okay. This is where we spend 95% of our time in AutoCAD. It's right up here. And let's go ahead and start with that. So any shape on Earth I can make with a line, an arc, and a circle. Okay. Any shape I can make with those three shapes. Okay. Modify. So I need shapes first. And the second thing I need to do is manipulate shapes. And so these tools right here are where you modify them. Now I realize from 2020 to 2018, they have changed ever so slightly. Okay. But the basics are there. A pencil still looks like a pencil. An arc still looks like an arc. Circle looks like a circle. Mirror looks like a mirror. I do think they changed trim. This scissor button used to look like a backslash, but it works exactly the same. This offset button looks like a magnet. I think it used to look more like a cloud. So anyhow, any of these that you hover over, if you don't know what they are, you just hover your mouse over them and you're good to go. Okay. It'll tell you. Let's talk about mouse selections. Okay. Lots of different ways you can do things with AutoCAD. So I'll try to get you back to the ribbon up here. So like if I draw a line, for instance, I just click line. Okay. And I click there and I click there and I'm good. Okay. But there's a lot of ways I can do it, right? I can go ahead and what's the word I'm looking for? Shoot, I've got my screen record. There we go. I can go ahead and type in the word line. Like when I learned this stuff, I literally had to type in L-I-N-E. And then I can check and get a line like that. I can hit the letter L and I will get a pop-up menu. And I can see that line is right there. Does the same thing. I can hit L and spacebar. That's the hotkey and the fast way to get to line. So 4 different ways I showed you. When we're in class, you know, I try to be cognizant of showing you up here. I so seldom click up here. You know, I feel like it's just faster to use the keyboard. So a couple of things. So most things on AutoCAD don't require you to drag anything with the mouse. Okay. Meaning like you don't have to hold a button down. If you click a line, you know, you click to start it, but you're not holding anything. I just made one click and I look down here and it says what? Specify next point. So I'm not holding anything down. My next point could be right there. Okay. But the line keeps going. And so you're like, wait a minute. Okay, there, I want it to go there. How do I stop? How do I stop? I'm making a spider web. Okay. The way you stop something is you got about 5 different ways. You can right click and hit enter, okay? Or you're drawing a line and you want to stop it right there. You can just hit the space bar. Or you can go ahead and get it to this point. You can hit enter. You can hit escape. So if you're in the middle of something, you don't want it to keep going. Like for instance, I want to select this and then I say, oh, I don't want to select it. Hit escape. Okay, so that's that. I'm trying to think what else. Selecting things. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a mishmash of things. Okay, if I wanted to select certain things and say, oh, wait a minute, I did not want that piece and this piece. Okay, I can individually select things just like this. Okay, and you can see I'm like moving the crosshairs right on top of it, and it's very cumbersome. Okay. The other thing I can do is I can click down on the bottom right. And I'm not holding. I'm just going up to the upper left. Click bottom right, go up to upper left. Develop that habit of going this way and not this way. This way sometimes only selectively grabs things. You can see right there, I just went over all of it, but it only picked these points. Okay, so sometimes it's a mystery. But anyhow, you can just go ahead and do this, and you say, wait a minute, I wanted to select those 3 things to erase, but somehow you got that one. Okay, just hit escape. It'll get rid of it. Okay, if I want to select everything, I can select it, and then I can hit erase, Or I can hit erase. Now I get this little box and I can select it. So it kind of lightened it, but it's like, where do I go now? I just right click or I hit enter. Okay. Um, what else do we want to think about with that? If I click erase, I can pick individual items. Yep, I want to get rid of that one, get rid of that one. Okay. But another way I can get rid of them that I often do is I select ahead of time and I just hit delete. So delete and erase work exactly the same. Okay. Let's talk about panning. Panning and zooming. Very, very easy. If I drew something really small, I'm going to go ahead and draw a little circle. Actually, what I'm going to do is draw it big so I can do it a little faster. And I'm going to go ahead and do something like this. Okay. So I drew this guy and I'm going to go ahead and get it really small. 0.1. Okay. So now it's real small. So I want to zoom in on it. Well, way that you can do that, you have a zoom menu in the command line. You can type in the letter Z, and you can click zoom, or you can just hit the space bar, and you get all this gobbledygook on the bottom. It says all, center, dynamic, previous, scale. Okay, so dynamic zoom just means that you are able to zoom in on a specific thing, and it's useless. Okay. The one that's handy though down here there's like 3 of them that are handy. One is extents. So if I click zoom extents, that shows me the biggest version of everything on the page. Okay. And in order to show that to you, the other way I can do that is I can double click my mouse roller. Okay. And that did the same thing for me. Another way you can zoom, if I want to get really in tight to this, okay, I can type in the letter Z, zoom pops up, or I just hit the space bar, and I can use this one, which is called window. Now, window gives me like crosshairs with a magnifying glass, and if I wanted to see a really detailed part, I click, make a box around it, and it will zoom right in. Okay. And at the same time, maybe I want to zoom back to where I was. Okay, I want to look at that from the old view. So I can type in letter Z, click zoom, and now I can click previous, or I could type in letter P in spacebar. And now that brought me to the last zoom. Okay, so a lot of ways you can do that. Z space, type in E space for extents. That gives me everything on my screen. Z space, W space, that allows me to zoom in a specific window. And then Z space, T space, zoom previous, brings me back to where I was. So get used to those tools, and they also do exist for you over on the right side of your screen. Okay, so zoom is here, but I don't find it very useful over here. Okay. Last one is pan that we'll talk about, and then we'll come back and we'll draw some stuff, and I'll do that on the next video with drawing some of these things. But I did want you guys to be real familiar with like selection of objects, how to get off of a command, how to navigate around your screen. So let's say I'm zoomed over here, but I want this little object to be in the center of my screen. Well, I showed you ways that you can zoom with a specific command, but I can just roll my mouse roller away from me, and that's going to zoom in on something just like on your cell phone. If you move 2 fingers towards each other or away from each other, that zooms, right? I can roll the mouse roller towards me, and I'm zooming out. Okay. So the other thing I could do is sometimes I go, oh, where was that? I wanted to find something. I know it's over here, but zooming isn't really helping me. I need to get back here. So we have something called pan. Okay, and pan on your screen is this little hand right here. So you can click that, and you get a little hand. Now this is one of the few commands you have to use by holding the mouse button down. So I can click, hold it down. Click and hold it down. It's literally like the way you would do something if you're trying to move like a bed sheet across your floor or something. like and you couldn't move, you couldn't walk with it. You just had to try to get the other corner to you, right? So I can do that, and then I can zoom in here and say, oh, I want it to be a little bit more up here. Oh. So I'm not moving anything. I'm just moving my perspective of the thing, okay? And that's what panning does. Now, panning this used to not be the case, but panning used to only work if you were not in a command. But now I can be over here, and I'm like, you can see where my command window is in the way, and I can't I'm not sure if I'm going to get to the place I want to be. So while the line command is running, I can come over here and click pan, or I can, if you have a mouse roller, you can click and hold your mouse roller down and it will pan for you. And then I can also zoom while I'm in a command too. That used to not be the case years ago, and it was a nightmare. It took twice as long to do everything, okay? So you're right here and you say, oh, wait a minute, I wanted to connect this somewhere else. Is there somewhere else I can connect this? Yeah, I could connect it here. I could connect it here or whatever. So you're going to constantly do that. So get used to the panning, the zooming, and the efficient ways to zoom around the screen, right? So if I hit letter Z space and I hit E space or click extents, now I'll see everything I did. Okay, so we'll leave it go right there, and then when the next thing we'll do is we'll talk about using a handful of these draw tools and a handful of these modify tools together.